Hey, everybody. I'm Brittany Howard, Diamond Ambassador, and I'm excited to be here with you tonight. So if you're on my team, then welcome Pink Power team to our call. Tonight, they're joining us, and we are going to talk about how to build $1 million business. And so I realized at the beginning of this year that I have actually earned over $1 million with Plexus. And that does not mean that I am making $1 million a year yet, because I know where I'm headed. But in my years of Plexusing, I have passed the $1 million mark. And I find that to be a huge accomplishment. I had no idea until Fallon actually messaged me earlier this year and said, hey, have you ever earned $1 million with Plexus yet? And so I went back and I added up all of my previous 1099s from the time I started, and plus what I have made this year. And I actually did hit that mark this year. And so I've been asked to speak on that tonight. What does it look like to build $1 million business? How does that look? If you believe that that is going to happen, how do you work for that? What activities should you be focused on, and things like that? So that is what I'm not sharing that with you guys to brag by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just telling you guys that to inspire you, because I know that if I can do this, 100% you can do it. Because when I started this, I was not one of those people that was an influencer or that was already a leader who was well networked or whatever. I mean, I've never even had a career, y'all. I was just a stay-at-home homeschooling mom with a lot of kids and a big old work ethic. And so I realized that this simply was a set of skills that anybody could learn and get good at. And I was ready for change in my life. And so I decided I was going to figure some things out, and that is what I did. So, okay. So if you're going to be successful in this business, it always, always, always starts in your mind. It starts with what you're thinking, because what you're thinking and what you're believing is going to determine what actions you are taking. And the right actions are going to create the right results. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So we on my team, we've had some really good skill set calls the past several weeks. So tonight I want to talk to you about mindset, specifically about an entrepreneurial mindset and what that means, because the truth is that this business is 80% mindset and 20% skill set. The truth is, the skill set, it's really simple in this business. The skill set, it's not usually where people get hung up in this business. If you're going to build $1 million business, it starts in your mind with what you're thinking. Okay. So an entrepreneurial mindset, most people, they don't naturally have that. In our economy, most people, they have an employee mindset, or at best a self-employed mindset. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we definitely need employees, right? But if you're in this business, obviously you're wanting something more than trading your hours for dollars. You're probably thinking big. You're probably thinking, I want freedom. I want security. I want more time. I want community, right? So you're thinking about other things other than trading hours for dollars. Okay. So there's a difference between being employed and being a business owner. There's a lot of differences. There's differences in the way you get paid. There's differences in the time that you're going to put in. There's differences in the way that you could increase your income even. Most people realize there's differences between an employee and a business owner. What most people don't realize is that there's even differences between being self-employed and being a business owner. So an employee, the way you get paid if you're an employee is your employer hires you to do a job, and if you work an hour, they pay you a certain wage, or you might How did I get muted? How long have I been muted? And what is the last thing that I said? I don't know how I just got muted. Okay, so the difference between an employee and a self-employed person is that a self-employed person gets to be their own boss and they get to make their own hours. But they are similar in that they still trade hours for dollars, and if they don't work, they don't get paid. The difference between a self-employed person and a business owner is a self-employed person has to work or they don't get paid. A business owner, they own a system. And so the system can keep working whether they are actually working or not. So that's the perk of being a business owner. Now, when you're a business owner, oftentimes when you're building your business, you're putting in a lot more effort than you feel like you're getting paid for. At first, when you're building it, you may feel underpaid for the amount of work you're doing. But if you keep going and you build this thing out, eventually you're going to feel like you're getting paid way more than the work you're actually putting in. So that's the beauty of being a business owner. Okay. If you want to increase your income and you are an employee, then the way to do that is to work more hours, right? If you are self-employed and you want to increase your income, then you do the same thing. You work more hours. If you are a business owner and you want to increase your income, that doesn't necessarily mean that you work more hours. Now, on the front end, it does. Until you have it built out, then you probably do have to put in more hours because you have to build it. You have to actually build the systems. You have to develop the leaders, things like that. But once your systems are in place, then the way you increase your income is you refine your systems or you develop more leaders, right? You scale it. It's scalable. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to put more time in once you get to a certain point. Okay. So let me give you guys an example, just a very simple example. Let's just say I work for a lemonade stand. All right. So my boss owns a lemonade stand and he wants the lemonade stand to be up and running 12 hours a day. But he wants to work 8 hours and the other 4 hours, he'd like to go home, be home with his family. And so he hires me to run the stand for him the other 4 hours. Okay. So in this case, I'm an employee. If I would like to increase my income, that I could say, hey, maybe I work 8 hours and instead of 4 hours, right? So I will trade more of my hours for more dollars. Let's just say I owned the lemonade stand and I didn't have a boss. So the perk is I get to decide how many hours I'm going to work or what hours I want to work. But I still, if I want to make more money, I still have to be at that lemonade stand longer, right? Now, a business owner would be somebody who has a successful lemonade stand and they have gotten so good at it that they can curate systems, right? They have employees who are running the stand while they're not there. And they do have the expense of paying the employee, but at the same time, they don't have to be there running it. Like they could take a week's vacation if they wanted to, and the lemonade stand keeps running. Now imagine if I'm so good at doing this that my buddy comes along and says, hey, you're a successful entrepreneur. I just saw you take a week's vacation and you were still getting paid. How did you do that? And he says, well, friend, let me tell you. Again, I don't know how that is happening. All right, so he trains his buddy for a fee to build his own successful lemonade stand. And then he repeats that process. He's so good at running this lemonade stand that he's able to share his system with other people who can then successfully open their own lemonade stands. And every single time he does that, he gets a commission. He gets another commission, he gets another commission. That would be what we call a franchise, okay? Now with network marketing, guys, what you have here is kind of like a franchise. It's scalable. You have systems in place, and once you are really good at doing what you do, you can help other people be really good at what you do, and that is how you build $1 million business. That's how you do it, okay? So it really is that simple, but it's not always easy. Not because the skill set is hard, but like the actions that we're required to take every single day, they're not difficult. They're actually very simple. But what holds us back from going and building it out is what's between our ears. Oftentimes it's what's between our ears. So let me just tell you in a nutshell how successful people think. Very successful people, they think things like this. Number one, they think it's possible for me to be very successful at this. If other people can be successful at this, so can I. And if I can be successful at this, then so can others. That's what highly successful people think. They think healthy thoughts about themselves. They believe, not saying they always think healthy thoughts or always think positive thoughts, because guys, we're gonna all have unintentional negative thoughts that pop up in our minds, fear or doubt or just negativity that we're all gonna have and we have to battle against. But successful people don't let those thoughts take root, because once they take root, it turns into a belief. And your belief is going to determine how you behave. So be careful with your thoughts and just know that you need to think about what you're thinking about, because just because a thought pops into your head, or maybe even your thought produces a feeling or an emotion for you, it does not make it true. So you're never going to outperform the quality of your thinking. So what are you thinking about yourself? Do you really, truly believe that if someone else can be successful, then you can too? And if you can be successful, then so can others who you're going to bring on board. That's what you need to believe. If you don't believe it, do something to change it. Get counseling if you need it. Read a book. Watch training videos that make you feel like you can go and conquer the world. You can change your thoughts. What you think and what you believe, it is a choice. You do have control over that. You just have to be intentional about it. All right. So second thing, highly successful people think, they think my products are valuable and people really need them. They believe in their products. The third thing people think, highly successful people think, is my opportunity allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results, and people need this opportunity that I'm offering. They have belief in this opportunity. And then number 4, they think my success is up to no one except me. That's a growth mindset. They're not blaming outside circumstances or blaming other things for their lack of success. Or, because on the flip side of that, if they are successful, they can't take credit, right? So your success is up to you, and you have to take ownership of that. If there are other people out there doing this, you can do this. And you just have to take ownership of that. So when you are thinking about where you are at in your Plexus business, then what are you filling in your blanks with? If I were to say, I would be a jewel in Plexus right now if it weren't for fill in the blank. If that blank is filled by anything other than if it was something outside of you, then you have a victim mindset. And you are not a victim. You're not a product of your circumstances. You're a product of how you respond to them. So how are you going to respond? Because guys, every successful person that you will ever meet has problems, big problems. but they just choose how they're going to respond to their problems, and they're going to choose what attitude they have about their problems, and they're going to choose how they are going to move forward despite their problems, because you're never going to get to a point in your business, even if you do have $1 million business, you're still going to have problems. Ask me how I know. The problems, you might solve the problems you have today. Tomorrow you have a new set. Okay, so you'll always have problems. If you can't figure out a way to be successful despite your problems, then you probably won't be successful, because you're always going to have them. Okay, so take ownership of your business. Your success is completely up to you. Okay, let's talk about, we talked about entrepreneurial mindset and how to think like a business owner. Actions. What actions do you take? Well, first of all, you treat your business like a business. The first thing under treat your business like a business is work your business consistently. I feel like that should go without saying, but let's go back to this lemonade stand. What if I'm thinking, okay, I have caught the vision for how I'm going to make $1 million off showing people how to build their own successful lemonade stands. And then I just showed up one day, but not the next. Or I showed up 3 days, but not the rest of the week. Or I showed up only when I felt like it, or when I wasn't tired, or when I wasn't hangry, or when I didn't have a friend invite me to go to the pool. Right? I mean, if I had this $1 million vision and I don't even work it consistently, is anybody going to take me seriously? I mean, what would you say to, if ladies, just for a second here, think on this. If your husband decided he wasn't going to go to work that day because he couldn't get the kids in bed on time, I mean, what would you respect that? If your husband says, well, I can't go to work today because I'm too tired. But that was, I mean, sometimes that does happen, okay, but it should be like the exception, not the rule. If your husband was constantly making that excuse for why he wasn't going to work because he didn't feel like going to work, or because he was too tired, or because he couldn't get the kids to do such and such, or any other excuse for why he didn't go to work and provide for his family, I mean, would you respect that? Like you would not. First of all, you'd probably be upset if you're a lady needing your husband to provide for you. But how does that apply to your Plexus business? Are you showing up consistently? Are you working your business consistently like it's a business? If you were trying to build $1 million lemonade stands, do you think you could do that half-heartedly, or sometimes, some days and not the other days, or only when you feel like it? Absolutely not. Do you really truly believe that you can build $1 million business? Then work like it. If you believe that, then work like it. And guys, if you believe that, generally you are working like it. If you are listening to this call right now and you're not working like you're building $1 million business, it's probably because you don't actually believe that it's possible. And I'm telling you that there are actions you can take to correct your thinking, because your thinking is thinking. It's wrong thinking. You gonna let those thoughts that are not true rob you of $1 million? It just doesn't really make any sense if you think about it like that. Okay. So are you working like you're building $1 million business consistently? Working your business when you don't feel like working your business? I mean, do you only have to be a mom when you don't feel like, when you feel like being a mom? I mean, there's just parts of life that you have to do regardless of whether you feel like doing it, if you want to be successful at it. I mean, some things I guess you don't have to do if you don't feel like doing it, but nobody's going to take you seriously or respect you, and you're not going to get solid long-term results if you only do things that you feel like doing. If I'm homeschooling my kids and I only do math on the days I feel like doing math with my third grader, guess how much math my third grader is going to know at the end of the year? Probably just a second grade level, right? Because I would never feel like doing math. You just do it because you want the results. So you're not always going to feel Like you want to work hard, but you just do it anyway. You do things you don't feel like doing. That same principle applies to your finances. It applies to your health. It applies to your marriage, parenting, anything you want to be successful at. Okay. Other thing, work your business even when there's not momentum. Guys, I can't think of a time in my business where I wasn't either in momentum or working to create momentum. So if you're not in momentum, that should be more reason why you should be working harder to create it. Because if I'm not in momentum, I'm digging deep. I'm amping it up. I'm determined we're about to get back in momentum. So just because you're not in momentum is not an excuse for you to slack off. If you're trying to build $1 million business, you're going to have to work to create the momentum. Be the hardest working person that you know. There might be people out there who know more than you do, who are more talented than you are, who are smarter than you are, more beautiful. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that are all of those things way more than me, but you know what? They're not going to outwork me. And they're probably not going to outthink me. And I know they ain't going to outlearn me. Okay. So work like you're building $1 million business. If you believe that, work like it. Make your feet match your mouth. What successful people don't do? First of all, they don't make excuses. And I already named a few excuses, but you know who you are. You know what excuses you're making. If you wouldn't call into your job, like if you had an actual job where you had a boss that you had to answer to, clock in and out from, and be accountable to, if you wouldn't call in over that reason, then you don't call off of working your $1 million business so you can do that either. I mean, what if your husband said, well, I'm sorry, honey, I couldn't go to work today because my friend called and asked me if I could do this. I can't even. Also, they don't let problems or challenges hold them back from their goals. Because like I said, we all have challenges. We all have hurdles. We all have problems. And we all got the same products. We all got the same comp plan. We all got the same back office. And if you're on this team, you all got the same upline. You have the same opportunity as the person next to you, okay? Or everybody else on this call, same opportunity. We all have problems. The difference between highly successful people and unsuccessful people is not a lack of problems. Next, they don't blame circumstances or other people for their lack of success. Already touched on that. There's another thing successful people don't do. They don't remain stuck. I'm not saying they don't ever get stuck, because we all at some point hit a wall in our business. Some people hit multiple walls. Some of us just real hard-headed. I'm one of those. So I've hit a lot of walls in my business, but guess what? I climbed over all of them. I don't like keep hitting it like over and over and over and be like, I wonder why this wall won't move. I mean, it's made out of bricks. Get a ladder and climb over the wall, y'all. All right, next. It's okay to get stuck. That's all I'm trying to say. It's okay to get stuck. It's not okay to remain stuck. Figure it out. It's all figure outable. There's no problem in this business that is not solvable. So go solve it. If other people are solving it, you can solve it. All right. They don't act like they're busier than everybody else, and they don't act like their life is harder than everybody else. Successful people don't do those things because we value people's time, and we know that everybody else is just as busy as we are, and everybody else's time is just as valuable as our time is. Okay. How to work your business. So 4 pillars. I mean, it's really simple. Like I said, it's just a skill set that anybody can choose to learn and get good at. So you've heard this a million times, probably, if you've been on our team for like 5 minutes. 4 pillars, 4 main skills you got to master if you want to be crazy successful. Recruiting, retention, duplication, leadership. All right. So where does it start? if I'm going to build $1 million business, I have to go recruit some people. I have to enroll people. I got to get people on my products. I got to have customers, right? I got to be posting consistently. If I'm building on social media, I have to be talking to people about Plexus every single day. New people that I've never talked to about Plexus before, and following up with people that I've already talked to about Plexus, but they haven't joined me yet. And then I have to be willing to follow up. So, people, let me tell you this, because we had this conversation with Jules the other day. A lot of times people are tempted to think that jewels or diamonds, that the reason they're so successful is because they have these business builders who, they just wanted to do this and they just don't have all these people telling them no. And guys, that's just flat out true. If you're a 6-figure earner or more in this business, the only difference that you have or advantage that you have is simply that you've heard more no's than anybody else. Okay. So if you want to be a 6-figure earner, if you want to be a diamond, then go, it's fine to get no's. You're going to get no's. The no's are never going to stop. So you have to be willing to follow up with people. And then it starts with your belief, recruiting people and selling your products, posting. I mean, all of these actions, you're not going to take them consistently if you don't truly believe in what is actually possible, what the potential here is. All right. So, and then the next pillar is retain. So provide great customer service. The people who entrust you with their health or people who are joining your team, you definitely want to be good at troubleshooting the products with them, helping them fall in love with the products. Also, if your retention is terrible, you might want to look at your recruiting methods, because are you overselling the products? Are you over promising and under delivering? Know what our products do, know what benefits you can sell to people. Definitely tell the truth. That should just go without saying. Okay, so retention, great customer service, don't oversell. Duplication, that just means you're getting people to want to do what you're doing. That means you're sharing the opportunity effectively with every single person. And that's the key word, effectively. This is where the skill set comes in, which we just talked about on our goal call. So sharing the opportunity effectively with every single person, and then again, being willing to follow up, because most people are not going to want to do this with you the first time they hear about it. Okay. But that's a skill. And we have lots of good training videos about that you can dive into if you want to master that skill. So you've got to learn the skill of getting people to want to work the business. And then leadership. Leadership means you are helping your team be successful. That means you know what to do to train them, you know how to coach them through their own mindset hurdles, and also helping them be successful is hands-on things like supporting them in their efforts, maybe going and doing events with them or for them, maybe doing 3-way calls with them and their prospects or their level ones, so that you can help them get duplication going. Okay. These are all skills that can be learned if you decide you're going to learn them. So out of those 4 pillars, which one do you need to hyper focus on mastering first? Don't listen to me talk about 4 pillars and then think, oh, I need to go fix this and this and this and this. And I see all these problems in my business all at one time. And I'm telling you, that's not going to be effective if you try to fix more than one thing at a time. So my husband is building a house for us right now. And what if I were to go over there one day and I see that he has stood 2 or 3 walls in our house, and that's what he did for that day. And then the next day I go back, and with the 2 or 3 walls, he's hung 1 light fixture and installed 1 doorknob. There's no other walls in the house. Like, we don't even have like a skeleton of a whole house yet, and he's over there hanging light fixtures and putting doorknobs in. I mean, what kind of sense does that make? That would just be all over the place. Okay. Now imagine if he goes to build our house and he builds all the walls first. And then the next month, then he goes and he installs all the light fixtures. And then a few weeks later, he paints all the walls. And then a few weeks later, he lays the flooring. And then eventually we get cabinets and countertops, and then little finishing touches here and there. Okay, so then eventually you get a house, right? So you're going to get there, But if you're just focusing on, oh my gosh, there's so many things that need to be done, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this, then you're like a pinball machine, like bouncing around everywhere. You're going to be way more effective if you focus on one thing, hyper focus on it, overtrain on it, get into massive action on the one thing, get really good at this, and then you can focus on the next thing. You're never going to get to a place in your business where you lack for problems to solve or skills that you can improve on. So ask yourself this question: out of the 4 pillars, recruiting, retaining, duplicating, leadership, which one of those do you need to focus on first? And then get real serious and focused on the one thing. Okay. Last thing. I think this is the last thing. Let me look at my notes. Nope, not the last thing. But I'm almost done, I promise. Okay. Very important. If you're going to build $1 million business, you have to, and this is non-negotiable, you've got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. Some of you getting out of your comfort zone might be just simply working hard. You're not used to having to work hard or exert a lot of effort or tell yourself no when you want to do something else, but instead you're going to work your business. For you, then getting out of your comfort zone just means working consistently. For some others of you, you do work hard already. And what's going to get you out of your comfort zone is you've got to be willing to focus on one thing at a time. You've got to be willing to take time to fight boredom on a coaching call and not be scrolling Facebook, but like really focus in, pay attention, drown out distractions, and focus on the person and troubleshooting that person's business with them, coaching them, paying attention, asking good questions, listening, but all the while focusing. That's what it's going to take for you to get out of your comfort zone. Because some of you don't like to deal with other people's emotions, and that's uncomfortable for you. So if you want to move your business forward, if you want to develop those leaders, you're going to have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. Though the people who struggle with that part of this business, they generally are great recruiters. And when things feel scary or their points slide backwards a little bit, or they feel a little bit of fear because their person's not ranking up, or they don't really feel like they're equipped or know how to help that person, they generally go back to doing what feels easy and natural. And so if their points slide backwards a little bit, they're like, bam, I'm going to recruit 1 million people next week. And I'm going to sneeze, and 5 of them are just going to jump out, 5 new joins. And it fixes the problem short term. But they're not, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable by focusing on the person, drowning out distractions, being willing to troubleshoot and analyze things. Guys, there's a difference between working in your business and working on your business. Some of you are hard workers and you're working in your business all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. And your problem is not work ethic. Your problem is you don't ever take the time to slow down and analyze something like, how is this working? What's going well? What's not going well? What does this person need to move forward? How can I support them in that? And just analyzing what it's actually going to take, what's working, what's not. And guys, I'm telling you, when I was building my business to Diamond, I would get up so early in the morning so that I could have time to work on my business before I actually got in it. Now that I'm a Diamond, I'll allow myself a Friday to not do IPA and really just think about my business and analyze what's going on and how can I be more effective the next week or whatever. When I was building the Diamond, it was either very early in the morning because the rest of the time I was hustle. And honestly, it would be a lot of Saturdays. I would be working on my business while my team was out living their lives. And that's okay because it's called balance, right? I want everybody to have freedom, but I knew where I was headed and I was willing to give up that time on a Saturday so that I could, because I didn't have time during the week, especially in seasons of momentum. I did not have time during the week to think about my business. That thinking time, it is essential. You have to have it. You've got to be willing to analyze what is going on in your business and what it's going to take to move forward. So get out of your comfort zone if that's you. Some of you need to get out of your comfort zone because you don't want to face rejection. And doing IPA feels like if somebody doesn't respond to you, or if you reach out to a dream teamer and you don't get a response, or you're worried they're going to think you're weird, whatever, especially Jules. I find this especially to be true for Jules, or maybe anybody who hits a leadership rank. A lot of times we hit a rank and we're tempted, and I know because I have fallen into this trap myself before, but we're tempted to think, oh, I worked hard to get here and now my team's going to do the rest. And newsflash, that's not how it works. Even as a jewel, even as a diamond, y'all, I have to be willing every single day to get out of my comfort zone. If you're not doing something in your business every single day that feels uncomfortable, you probably are not growing. If you want your business to grow, you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. That means maybe face rejection. Maybe it means get in front of people. Maybe it means go make that video you're avoiding. Maybe it means go live on Facebook. Maybe it means start making stories. I don't know what it means for you. I just know you need to be out of your comfort zone or you're not growing. If you want to maintain your business, fine, stay comfortable. If you want to grow it, make it bigger, increase your paycheck, do something that makes you uncomfortable and do it every day. All right. So everything I just stated with the 4 pillars, that's a skill you can learn. And if you have an issue in your business, go figure it out. Okay. So post not getting engagement. Guess what? It's not because nobody will boost you. Learn how to write good content. And then you don't have to ask people to boost you. If you can't get your team to work, can't get anybody to work the business with you, go learn the skill of how to cast vision and share the opportunity effectively with people. If your team's not being successful, maybe you have people who do want the business, but they're not ranking up and you don't know how to help them, go learn how to be an effective coach. Everything's figure outable. People quitting on you, learn how to influence people, build relationships. That's leadership. Okay. Biz taking over your life. Maybe you are hustling all the time and you feel like things are getting out of balance. It ain't Lexus's fault. Learn how to be proactive with your time instead of reactive. Learn how to be intentional. Manage your time. Okay. So, all right. That's all I have to say about that. Now you all know how to go build $1 million business. So I expect in a few years, all of us will be millionaires. Okay. Okay. So let me stop recording.